I had a random stranger in 7-Eleven ask me to take a piss test for him this morning. So there's that.
The lessons pressing me to live above necessity, relentlessly receiving messages receptively, and in turn I repeat the blessings that rest in me. Life is easy when you are as a vessel. Act without stress and you'll find it's less stressful. Test of self are in mind to control. How righteous are you without being told?
I think it's kind of funny how many of the art supplies I tend to use a lot are so basic and so normal for so many people. Like, I mean, hey, I'm buying a bunch of Jelly Roll pens, and I love them, but it's crazy. These are good. Oh, that's a good one too. It's funny, you know, I buy all of these because you'd be amazed at how well Jelly Rolls actually write over pretty much anything. So it doesn't matter what medium you're using, you can write directly over it with Jelly Roll pens. So, I mean, I do it over paint, I do it over watercolors, I do it over markers. So I basically have just been buying a ton of them, and you know, I use the hell out of them now, which is crazy. Doing my art like a 14-year-old girl. And Sharpies. I need a lot of Sharpies. Ooh, a Sharpie tower. Oh, okay, I see how we do here. Tower of Sharpies. What's this one? What? Brush tip Sharpies?
That's some crazy stuff I'm not ready for then.
One other thing I'm going to pick up here, which is really cool stuff. If you've never used it before, you should definitely pick some up because it does awesome things. And that's metallic luster. It's like a wax, like kind of like paint, kind of like a wax. You wipe it on, get really cool effects with it. So I'm going to pick some of that up. Maybe get one of the weird colors. They got like red and purple and stuff. So these guys. This stuff is super cool. Comes in all these metallic colors. You can make things look very old, which is super cool. But you can also make them super crazy bright. Oh, whoa, what's that? So I was just about done editing this week's vlog, and it was focusing mostly on, you know, art and, you know, supplies and stuff like that. And then the night I was supposed to finish editing, I just hit this rough spot. See, I think it's really important for people with mood disorders and anxiety and depression and things like that to understand, you know, warning signs and understand how their moods cycle and things like that. Because if you understand how these things work, then it gives you a better chance at either being able to interrupt the process, or if you can't interrupt the process and you just got to go through that cycle, then it at least lets you mitigate damage and manage it. At least this is what I feel. I mean, I can't be certain. I'm not a therapist. My therapist says it's good though. So, you know, basically I recognized where I was in this process. And what it is I go through a cycle where, it starts off when it's on the upside. When it's on the upside, I get real productive. I get real inspired. I start doing a lot of stuff, getting a lot of things done. I produce a lot. I get, real like excited about things. And then from there, I start getting kind of distracted and unsure of what to do next. So I'll have, all these things I've been working on, and then I'm like, wait, what should I do now? I'm supposed to be working on, and then I start feeling like I'm not getting anything done. And then I get irritated and I get frustrated and I get real irritable, and, people start annoying me and everything starts annoying me. And then I start to kind of get this numb apathy kind of feeling, and I don't do anything, but I get real frustrated but I'm not doing anything. And then after that, this crash comes. And then when the crash comes, I stop getting anything done. I feel like shit about myself for not being able to, follow through with the things I had planned, or follow through with schedule, or anything like that. And, basically this is an ongoing pattern. I've been doing this for years, probably about as long as I can really remember. I didn't always recognize it before. I recognize it now that this is what I do, but I didn't recognize it in the past. So I had that happen the night I was supposed to finish up editing the vlog, and I just realized that this is actually something I should probably talk about, because I know a lot of people go through this. A lot of people have mood disorders. A lot of people, experience mania. A lot of people experience depression. We like to say and like to believe that it comes from nowhere. And I'm not saying things actually trigger it with everybody. Sometimes I have nothing that triggers a depressed episode, or nothing that triggers a manic episode or anything. But what it does is, whether there's a trigger or not, there's a pattern. So I've been learning to recognize the pattern. I think this is true for most people. I can't say, I'm not a psychologist or anything. So if this is true for most people, then that means you have a pattern. You have a way that your mood cycles, you have a way these things work for you. So if you're somebody that has some sort of mood disorder or depression or anxiety, then there's a series of signs of when it's going to get triggered. You have to understand that. And then you have to start looking at these things. You have to, when you have no idea when it's coming, what you have to do is you have to look at past episodes and think, well, what happened right before it? Not on the outside, not the situation, but what were you feeling? What did you feel beforehand? And I think when you can track your emotions, it gives you an insight into where your behavior is going to go. Because I know if I look at how I'm feeling, it's a clear sign of where I'm at on that spectrum, in that wave. It shows where I am by how I feel. So I have to constantly come back and examine. But the more you do it, you have to sometimes you have to go through it over and over and over, and it sucks. It fucking sucks. But the more you examine it, the more you can start to figure out where you are in that wave. And when you know where you are in the wave, you can be conscious of it. You can be prepared. You can understand what's going to come next. Again, this doesn't work for everybody, of course. Some people, I guess their shit's just random. But I know a lot of people that it's not that random. There is a pattern. So if you can learn that pattern, whatever your pattern is, then you'll be able to mitigate the damage from down cycles. It's really important to notice these things. And, for me, it's real important because I recognized that I was starting to hit that moment before a crash. And so far, it's been mitigated. It's been a couple days since that, and I haven't crashed. So a couple days is a long time for me to hit that moment and then not have a crash. So I think I may have offset it or reduced the impact of it. I'm not sure yet. I have to see where I'm at, in a couple days or whatever, because I know I'm still a little bit irritable. still a little frustrated with things. So we'll see. If what I'm saying sounds familiar to you, then this is something maybe you should think about. Maybe you should think, pay attention to the way you feel. And even if this isn't familiar to you, it's good to know, it's good to pay attention to what you feel. It's good to pay attention to your emotions because, you don't want to actually be guided purely by your emotions. Like, that's not a good idea. You want to use rational thought and logic and critical thinking skills. And those things are not emotional. Those are logical and rational and critical thinking. It's always good to pay attention to your emotions. Good to step back and look at them. And if you have a pattern to ups and downs, ebbs and flows, waves of your emotions, pay attention to them. Learn that pattern. Pattern recognition is going to save your ass because it's saving mine. The more I do it, the better I get at it, and the less damage is caused when I have a down cycle. So, yeah, so the vlog is late this week, and I'm sorry about that, but this is why. I knew this had to go in there, and I just had to get it together to actually record it. I love you guys. I really do. Thank you so much for supporting me.